Got it. I tell you, he's working hard. I know it's something hard to get distractions of little sister, yeah, and everything. But yeah, I mean, he's working hard. And like I said, I seen him being able to test here in a couple weeks. So yeah, I think he knows the stuff. So like he knows all the knowledge stuff. Can you hear me? All right, good. We give a couple minutes, see who else is. There's some people joining us today. I have Mr. Campbell here with us after his hiatus. So he's here in-house with me.
Cool.
My daughter's being lazy and staying at home. No, I'm kidding. So, hi, Miss Olivia. Did they kick you out of skate park?
No, I didn't want to go today.
Yeah, whatever. You got kicked out. I know you did.
No.
Yeah. All right. You guys missed it over here, man. There was crazy rain last night during classes at about must have been the 6 o'clock class. After all the rain had finally stopped and everything, because it rained from the 4 o'clock to probably middle of 5 o'clock class. It was raining pretty good, but there was an amazing rainbow out the window side, along looking out east. It was just a crazy, huge, amazing rainbow.
We had a perfect view of it from our house.
Yeah, right, Jason? Yeah, because you only live like 2 blocks from here and you still work out at home. I see how it is, dude. Lazy.
At our house, we get double rainbows.
Yeah.
So you get like the main one and then the second one on top, which is kind of cool. It happens like all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process just to kind of get everyone up to speed. Obviously, I don't anticipate that this COVID-19 situation is going to change anytime soon. Talking with a lot of my peers, talking in some of the groups and everything, they say that, at least the, Pumse piece and kicking piece, the stuff that isn't hand to hand, right? You can get around. That's not a big deal. The issue is the sparring piece, right? Like for us, for the kids to get in there and scrap, getting that contact and so forth. And so when you don't have, with the uncertainty of the virus and everything, the talk is that, we're probably not going to see sparring look the way we normally would think, at least until next year, beginning of next year at the earliest, they say, and it may be even longer than that. I feel sorry for grappling schools, for BJJ schools, right? Because they're struggling right now. And I was talking with a couple of my friends that are in that industry. They're trying to work around some stuff. Families can do it because, you can roll, if you have Mr. Giles, if you were in BJJ with your daughter, you could roll with your daughter and practice a lot of those moves in that situation. But, if you're a single person that's trying to work on stuff, very difficult to do, right? You can't simulate any of that. So it makes it hard. What I've done too is for anyone that is interested, I have what we call 2020 Armor, which are electronic chest pads for sparring that I've been using in class and so forth. So there's an app on the phone, right? And it gives you multiple, you just download the app, it's free. You set up a profile and then you can go in, and if you have one of these chest pads and you have like a bag at the house, you can put the chest pad on it, turn it on, set up a game, right? Testing reflexes or power kicking, set up the time frame that you want, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes or whatever. And then you can go and kick this thing, right? And get some feedback in regards to like on the kicking side, I don't know the measurement. They have a J. So it's like 158 J. So if you hit something, it says 158 J. I don't know what that is, but it's a measurement. So the higher that number is, obviously the stronger that kick is being registered on the chest pad. But it gives you feedback and so forth. You can train reflexes. So what it does is, if you've seen the chest pad, at the top, there's like a little digital display kind of thing, right? With just LED lights. And so when the LED light flashes, you have to kick. And so it times from the time of the flash to the time that the Hogu gets hit, gives you a time. And so throughout the whatever time period that you're in, right, you get measured and it says, okay, here's your best time and here's your average reaction time. And it's good for those people who are sparring, that like to spar a lot and get better, learning how to react, right? Just because, we all know, those of you who spar, we know it's a reaction game. How fast do you react? How fast can you kick? How fast can you get your foot to the opportunity when it presents itself? So it gives you a lot of tools in regards to that. So I've got 4 Hogus. I've gone ahead and given 2 out, one to Carter and one to Miss Riley, because they're on competition team. Right. But I've got one additional one that I'd be happy to loan out. If anyone's willing to come by and they've got a kicking bag at home that they can use, or if they want to borrow one of the kicking bags for a little bit and you want to come here and haul it, that's fine. They're all water filled, so it's just simple enough to empty out the water and then you can take it home with you. But you download that app, and especially if you have kids, right, and you want to keep them engaged, right, here's another option for them to train with and so forth. So, and it's a free resource. Like I said, I'm not going to charge you for the use of the equipment or anything like that, but you can certainly use that if you want to try to mix it up a little bit, or even for yourselves. You can get on there and kick it and, work on your reaction time. There's some game. There's a fitness one too. So there's a stamina builder where you're just kind of kicking, trying to get as many kicks as you can in the time frame. Works on your fitness level, works on, just different things. And then it tracks statistically and then gives you like a bar graph or a line graph on how your progress is, where you started to fade and all that stuff like that. So it's kind of a neat thing. It's still there's more things that are more features that they're adding to it. So 2020 Armor is based out of Canada. A former world champion decided to create these because he didn't want to pay the $20,000 or the $10,000 cost to have 2 chest gears, a laptop computer, a Bluetooth receiver, and 2 Bluetooth battery receivers that put into the chest pads. He didn't want to do that. So he created this Armor 2020, which everything is already built in. So you don't need a computer or anything like that, right? You tell you the truth, if you had 2 Armor 2020s, you don't even need a computer. You can set it up on a game mode where you can, fight against each other, and it's going to basically it's going to score. So what it does is that basically you have a lifeline. It's like a video game. You get hit, you lose lifeline. And so that's how it works. And so you don't need a computer or anything. And, athletes can work together to do that, and you don't have to pay $10,000. It only costs like, $400 a Hogu. So very affordable. Nice little option. But like I said, we got it from a competition team standpoint to help our athletes hit that Hogu, hit that chest pad properly. Because that was the biggest thing. Anytime our fighters went into fight, they weren't hitting a chest pad hard enough, or they weren't hitting it properly, and so they weren't scoring. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I don't think anyone else is going to join us. So, what we're going to do is we're going to work a little bit on Keumgang, which is the 2nd degree black belt Pumse, and Tae Baek. All right, so Tae Baek. And this will be the last of the Pumses that we kind of walk through and talk about. Keumgang obviously is the 2nd degree Pumse. There are no kicks in Keumgang. All right, so a lot of people like this particular Pumse because there's no kicking. All right, but it's probably the most difficult one because of the fact that it is balance-based. You find out that even though I don't kick, I have a hard time maintaining my balance. All right. All right, so Mr. Campbell, you're more than welcome to join in and kind of follow along in the back here. All right, so when we start with Keumgang, right, regular Chumbi stance, all right, forward into a front stance, twin circular block, right? This is that movement just like in Koryo, where you pull back and do this. It's the same motion. So you start with this, 1, all right? And then we're going to step forward into a front stance, chin strike. So this is a new technique. Right, that chin strike is where you kind of curve your hand, striking to the chin, right? It comes up like a punch, straight forward, pop, all right? And then we step forward and do that 2 more times, all in front stance position, all right? Then we're going to transition into a back stance as we step back, and then we're going to do a inside out knife hand block. So this is just like your outside in knife hand block or outside in block motion or inner block motion, but with a knife hand. So the palm of your hand is actually facing you. All right. So as you pull back, 1. All right. And then from here, you're going to do that 3 times, 2 and 3 in the back stance position. So if you notice, you went forward in front stance, you come backward in back stance. So with front stance being deeper than back stance, you're going to find out that when you're in this final movement, you're not going to be back where you started if your stances are consistent. You're going to be about a foot length to a foot length and a half in front of where you started. So if I started kind of in the middle of the blue, I'm going to be just in front of that. All right? So once I'm here, we're going to go into something called a crane stance or haktari sogi, right? So that crane stance is basically pulling in and lifting up the front leg, all right? So when we do the crane stance, base leg, toe should be pointed straight ahead. Opposite foot, or my left foot in this instance here, it's going to be pulled up so that my arch of my foot is next to my knee, right? Because if you look at the knee, there's a little bit of a curvature in the knee, in the side of the knee, on the inside part of the knee. We want that arch to be right by that inside part of the knee, okay? The other thing you want to make sure is when you lift your foot, relax it, okay? So don't try to angle and point down or try to lift up, right? Just a natural lift, okay? Now, if you lock your right leg out, the leg I'm standing on, if you lock it out, right, eventually you're going to start losing your balance, right? It's hard to stand here, right, completely still, all right? So in order to help you with your balance so that it doesn't look obvious that you're trying to fight your balance, you want to make sure that you flex your knee a little bit, okay? From a competition standpoint, what judges look for is the knee bend and the knee lift here. They want the top part of your thigh to be parallel with the ground. All right? Now, I know, Mr. Giles, Mr. Campbell, you guys are going, no, that's not possible. That's not possible to get my leg up that high, right? That hip flexor really has to work. So that's why, like I say, if you bend, that kind of helps to get it there. All right? Right? So, like, you know, Dason and Natalie, they don't have a problem doing this, right? But they have lots of practice in this particular pumse because of the balance issue, right? So we go into here to this hakdari sogi, this crane stance here, all right? So when we're here, right, our hands are going to do two movements here. So this is what they call the Keumgang technique, right? Which is a rising block and a low block, a high block and a down block, right? So the way this goes, though, it's a slow movement. Once again, I told you this is all about balance, right? So from here, when I come up, I'm going to lift slowly, right? And then I'm going to turn and twist everything out at the last second. So this technique should take you 8 seconds, right? It's a long time, 8 seconds, right? From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. So once again, that rising block position, the high block position is the same as we normally do the rising block. The down block, though, comes to your side. All right. So we want the down block in line with our hip joint here. Okay. The down block should also be about a hand span away from your hip joint, just like in Keumgang, right, where we do this double down block movement. It's the same thing with the single arm. Okay. Now, what we want to kind of see is from here, you're looking straight ahead when you start. When you get to 4, your wrists start to rotate out to get to the final position, as well as your head. So from here, we're going to be moving to our left. So I'm going to, at 4, start to turn my head, 5, 6, 7, 8. So by the time I turn my head, I want to, all right? So we kind of talk about, you know, at the very beginning of class, we typically do this neck rotation thing. And the reason why we do that is because we're trying to practice being owls, right? We want to try to keep this straight and get our head turned as far as possible without manipulating our shoulders, okay? So the more we do this, the better range of motion our neck gets, and the more we can be sideways here, okay? Got it, sir? All right, so then from here, once we're here, we land in a horse riding stance. We do something called a turning punch or a hooking punch, basically. All right, so you land in that horse riding stance and boom, it comes around. So it's a hook, right? If you think about boxing, hook to the chin. It's the same motion, but this one's to the body. It's a hooking motion to the body. So we want the fist to be armpit height, okay? And then we also want to make sure, if we can, try to get that fist over enough where the elbow is in line, the right elbow is in line with the right side of my body. So I don't want it too far where my elbow is in front of my body. I don't want it not enough where my elbow's outside of my body line. So I want it straight enough where on this side of my body, it looks straight, okay? And the reason why I say that is because, right, there are some people that have gorilla arms, I like to say, right? They're basically, their elbow to fist length is a lot longer than, right, shoulder to elbow, right? And so if I tell them, okay, stop here, right, their elbow's sticking out, all right? So we want to get all the way, we want to get to this point here where the elbow side is straight. Okay, here. So when I land, it's here, 1. Right now, we do a 360 turn. So we're going to come around, spin into a horse riding stance, and then another turning punch at the same time. Okay. Now, Natalie does this really well, and she purposely stayed home so that she's going to make me demonstrate. All right. So when I do this, right, imagine yourself as an ice skater, right? When the ice skater goes into their spins, they keep everything really tight in order to increase the speed of the spin, right? So what happens a lot of times when we first start, right? Everyone, when we do this, when I show them technique, they do this. They take this really big step, right? And that's a good starting point, right? When you're teaching it, just get them to turn, right? Get used to turning forward, right? But then as you get better with this, as we start working on the detail, what we want to see is basically they should move about 1 foot length or a chumbi width over when they do that second punch, okay? So from here, if I'm here, right, I want to finish here, about a chumbi width away from where I started, okay? So it's 1, 2, and you want to land in a horse riding stance. Yeah, see, Natalie, I got it. So there, all right? And then from here, I'm going to go into what we call a santomaki or mountain block. So from here, I'm going to step forward with my right leg. I'm going to do a stomping motion into a horse riding stance. All right? My left arm is going to start at my armpit, and it's going to do an inside out block. My right arm is going to start out, and it's going to come around into an outside in block motion. All right? So it's this. All right? And it's a stomping motion here. All right? So from here, at this point, we key up. Here, right? On the stomp. We're also looking to the direction we stepped. So I'm going to look to my right, looking forward, horse riding stance. Now we want to make sure on this hantomaki, right? This mountain block motion, we don't want the shoulders turned at all. So if I'm looking directly straight down the line, right, I should only be able to see that front outside in block. All right, so I'm at this hantomaki here. Now I bring the left foot around, horse riding stance, right? Twin circular block, right? So here, what we want to do is as we bring the left leg around, left hand should be on the bottom when you cross your hands, okay? Left hand on the bottom, and then you pull across, okay? You see a lot of people kind of pull into their body and out. So they kind of wrap it like this, right? Kind of like they're, like mixing something, right? We want to keep the bottom hand here, basically bend the elbows and then pull across. That's the motion. Bend the elbows, pull across, right? So that from here, when it's on the bottom, as you come up, now it's on the outside. And then 2, okay? So at this point here, when you're here, you're looking straight ahead. All right? So now when you're here, left foot comes into that parallel stance or the chumbi width stance, right? You cross your arms and then you do, just like we did in Keumgang, that double down block movement, that slow double down block movement, 5 seconds, okay? And then from here, left foot comes around, right? Now my right arm is low, my left arm is high. I'm going to do that mountain block, santomaki. I'm going to stomp down with my left leg, and I'm going to go into a horse riding stance. And I should be looking to my left here because I'm moving backward toward here. So I'm looking to my left. All right? The hardest transitions are these transitions for balance. When you have to turn 90 degrees for these. Okay? So a lot of times, this is where people lose their balance. They start to do this, right? So the key is here, 1, right? You want to try to keep your weight over the front part of your leg as you pivot, okay? The reason why people lose their balance is because they shift their body, right? So from here, when I'm trying to go here like this, they lean back because, I got to bring my leg up. So I lean back, and then this is where they lose their balance. If you can learn to just keep your shoulders forward a little bit, right? That helps you with that turn, okay? So once we're here, right, we come up, boom, we chamber our hands once again. The hakdari shogi or the crane stance, and then this Keumgang block, right? They call this a Keumgang block, which is a dual block, right? Rising block and down block. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same thing going the opposite way. We're going to land horse riding stance, left turning punch. All right, and then once again, we're going to do that 360 turn, and boom, voila. Okay, so now, once you know this part, you know the rest of the pumse because it's the exact opposite. All right, the only transition here is we bring the right leg up here. After that turning punch, we bring the right leg up, and we go back the same way. Once again, we're still looking to the right. So when I did the second turning punch, I stay here and I keep looking to the right. Yep, bring your left leg up, or bring your right leg up, sir, now. There you go, good. And then once again, we go here, 1, and do the same thing, 2. Okay. Now we reverse it, right? So now left foot's gonna step forward. My right hand low, left hand high, santomaki, mountain block, and key up, here. Right, then you turn counterclockwise. Right foot comes around counterclockwise. Right hand on the bottom, come across. And then right leg steps in just a little bit to that parallel stance. Right hand on the outside. Low down block. This one's going to feel weird. This should feel different if you've been doing it right, because we've never done it with the right hand in front. We've always done it with left hand in front. In Taekwondo Keumgang, when we turn here, we go here, it's left hand in front. Here, we've never done the right leg or right hand in front. So you want to make sure that the right hand is out away from you, furthest away from you. Okay? Once again, looking straight ahead. Right leg comes around clockwise or counterclockwise. Horse riding stance stomp. Right? And that mountain block, you're going to be looking to your right side. And then pivot on that right foot, left foot up. Right? Keumgang block in your hakdari sogi. 8 seconds. And then keep looking at left side, turning punch, horse riding stance, and then step around, horse riding stance punch. All right, when you're done, left foot comes back to your junbi position. All right, and poro. All right. So this one, so far, Taeguk Irchung and Keumgang are the only 2 pumses where you start and finish in different spots. Okay? All right, those are the only 2 right now that you know of. So, all right, there are 2 others in the black belt realm that you will eventually, when we get around to them, you'll learn and realize that you don't get into the same spot. So, all right, any questions? Any questions? You just need to unmute yourself.
No, sir.
No questions from Dason. Okay. Good. All right. All right. So, all right. So Keumgang short answer means mountain, basically. It's the diagram of it, right? So you go forward really far, and then you come out to the side and you come up just a little bit. And then you come across again, come up a little bit, right? So it kind of looks like a mountaintop or a mountain peak, right? So the symbolic nature of that short definition is mountain. Okay? All right, let's move on. Yeah, okay, so Tae Baek. All right, so Tae Baek is the third degree pumse. So for third degree black belts, right? Or if you're in competition, you have to be 15 or older to be doing this pumse as a black belt. All right. So from this position here, what we're going to do is we're going to turn to our left. We're going to turn 90 degrees to our left into a cat stance, or excuse me, a tiger stance. All right. We're going to do a double downward knife hand block. All right. So this is just like, kind of like your double down block motion. But remember with the double down block motion, we kind of keep the elbows there. We straighten out the elbows and we pull it around. This one here is more striking motion. You're going to cut across here. So what I'm going to do is, if you notice, when I turn to my left, I bring my left hand on the outside. If I can, what I want to try to do is I want to bring my knife hand so that the blade of my hands are more toward my body. Okay? Instead of just like this, like, you know, we don't want this. I want them turned if I can more. Once again, we talk about volume of movement. to create power. The more twisting we can get with our wrists, right, the stronger that technique's going to be. If we only go from here to here, yeah, it might be strong, but if we can turn a little bit more, we're going to be able to get a little bit more snap out of that technique, okay? So when we go into that tiger stance here, and we do this double knife hand to the side, you want to make sure the hand position should be right in between the front knee and the back hip. Right in between. So not out in front, not way out here to the back. Right? Slightly out in front, in between the hip joint and your front knee. Okay, you're in your tiger stance. Right leg front kick, put it down front stance, double punch. Right hand, left hand. All right, then pivot, same thing. So now because my right leg is coming around, my right hand is on the outside, and 2. Okay? And then once again, front kick, double punch, front stance. Right. So now we're going to turn to the front. We're going to do that knife hand block and strike movement like we did in Tae Sajang, right? So 1. Right. Now from here, what I want you to imagine here is basically someone's grabbed a hold of that knife hand in front, okay? So we're creating a release. We're going to pull back and twist out, okay? So the way this works, it comes in and out, okay? Twist it out, and then we step and punch in the front stance. So this movement here, it goes fairly quick. It goes here, 1, 2, into a front stance, okay? So you're not going to do this and then this, okay? Here, 1, and what we want to see is here, it's not just this, okay? We're not there. You want to pull into your body and then out so that the palm is facing away from your body, right? So this way, okay? So 1, 2, yep. So you're pulling in and down, right? And kind of out a little bit. 1, 2, okay? Right? So once you do that punch, 1, same thing. They grab the punch, you're going to do the same thing with the left hand. 1, 2. All right? They grab again, 1, and key up here. Okay? So this pumse has 2 key ups, right? So once you're here, right, you're going to turn 270 degrees, right? Boom. Into that back stance. We're going to do a twin or dual forearm block movement, right? So the way this works is left foot's in front, left hand does an inside out block, right hand does a rising block, okay? Right? So it's an inside out block, 1, and a rising block, 2, okay? Inside out block meaning that your fingernails need to be facing you, right? Like you're pumping iron, right? This position, not this position. Okay, a lot of people do this. Okay, now here's the problem. Because you're turning, everyone likes to do this, right? We chamber from the right hip. Everyone thinks, oh yeah, let me just bring it over my head. Let me just bring it like this. Incorrect. Because this is not how we do a rising block, right? See, we don't do a rising block this way, right? You have to bring it across and up. 1, right? Once again, we have to understand those basic movements and how we execute those blocks. So once I make that turn, I want to bring my hand across and up as this hand comes across, right? 1, 2, 1, okay? So it's 1 and 2. Now your hands are going to get all messed up. Yes, I get that, all right? It takes a little bit. It's just like that double knife hand movement, right? That double knife hand guarding block movement, right? Circle in the front, straight arm in the back. Not both hands circle, right? Right? It's either one or the other. With the kids, they always do this. It's either this, or if you tell them circle, it's this, right? They don't understand that one hand is a circle, the other hand is straight. 1, okay? Once again, though, this is more the technical piece, right? We want to try to understand where the how those blocks work. What is that block? So we have to stay true to that motion of that block. All right, so yeah, you come up, right? We want this to be at a 90-degree angle, right? 90 to 120 degrees. All right, so if it's a little bit stretched out in front, that's fine. You just want to make sure that the fist is shoulder height. All right, and then the other hand is a rising block, right? One. Here, one. All right. Okay. Now from here, you're going to go into a one-legged stance, side kick motion with the front leg. Okay. So here, we're doing side kick and hammer fist. Same time. Right? Just like kind of in Taekwondo Ojang, but instead of coming off the back, we're coming off the front leg. So here, 1, 2. Okay? So if you notice, what I did with my hand is I kind of brought it up to my shoulder and straight across for my hammer fist motion. Okay? We want to make sure whatever level you're kicking, right? Not everyone can kick like Natalie or Dason, right? So, right? If we can kick face level, then our hammer fist is going to be higher than face. And the reason for that is because we want parallel. We want the arm and the leg to be parallel. Okay? So we don't want the hand here and then the leg here. All right? We're not making a K. Cookie one, right? Right? We want level and even. Okay? All right? So before I did that, before the kick, sorry, I forgot, uppercut. Oh, man. All right, uppercut movement. So from here, 2, 3. So you do an uppercut into a side punch, maintaining that back stance. I'm sorry. All right. See, Natalie's not paying attention. She must be sleeping. All right, she should have reminded me. So from here, 1, right? 1, 2, 3. All right, so what I'm doing here is it's almost like I'm trying to get behind my opponent's head and kind of pull him down into this uppercut motion. So that's what my left hand is doing when I'm over on this side, or that front hand. So from here, this way, right? 1, 2. And then right into that side punch. So you keep your stance where it's at, 1, 2. Maintain that stance here. Then you lift up that left leg and kick, boom. Into the elbow strike here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then from here, when you transition over, left foot comes in, right foot steps out when we do the same thing to the other side. All right. So once again, right? Left hand high for the rising block, right hand inside out block. All right, then left hand uppercut, right hand punch, right leg up, right leg, right hand, hammer fist strike into left elbow. Okay. All right, any questions up to that point? It's a lot of information.
Okay, so where do you start with the uppercut punch again?
Really?
Sorry. I just want to see it one more time.
All right. Volume of movement, right? I start almost right from just right above my belt, or from the belt level if you can. 1, 2, 3, right? When you do the uppercut, you want to come up to chin level. Okay? From here, 1, 1, 2. Right? 1. And if you notice what I'm doing here, Natalie, right? This.
Yeah, because I tend to start here.
Yeah, once again, you're shortening that movement, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be as strong coming from here. Right? If I come up from here, it's okay, right? But, right, it's not like in Taeguk Paichang, right? Where we're kind of long, elongating and reaching, right? This one here is a close, because you're not moving. You're not shifting into stance, getting deeper. All right? So because we're here, we're stuck in this stance here, right? This is different, right? Because here we're driving, right? We got into a longer stance. Here we're stuck in that short stance, so we have to, right? We have to make that motion bigger, okay, to get that power. Okay. All right. I guess that's a good question. I guess. All right. What else? Any other questions? Because you know you'll be tested on this. All right. You will have to perform this pumse. All right. Natalie will have to perform it backwards, starting with the last movement and going back to the first. So.
No,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Yep. You need to do it like we're rewinding the videotape.
No, thank you.
Yep.
I'll do it.
Jason can do it really good.
No,
Really well.
Jason doesn't know this one. He'll be lucky to get through the first 2 or 3 movements. All right. All right. So no question. Question, sir? All right. Okay. So let's finish up the back end of it. So right, we just did the punch. Now from here, when we go to the back end, my right. So you'll switch your feet, sir. Yeah. So I'm gonna bring my right leg in, right, and then I'm gonna bring my left foot forward into a back stance, double knife hand guarding block. All right, just your basic double knife hand guarding block, right? Boom. All right. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna step forward into a spear hand, front stance, spear hand strike, right? So here, push down, just like in Taeguk Sajang. All right. So you're noticing, you know, in previous pumses, the way we do those techniques kind of translate into these more advanced techniques as well, right? So we're in that front stance, spear, okay? Now from here, once again, someone grabs a hold of that spear, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to do a release movement. As you do that release movement, you're going to move your left leg behind, okay? And what I mean by this is, right, I'm going to show you on the screen, right? When I turn, I'm going to turn so I'm in a front stance to the opposite direction. I'm in a front stance right now here, but when I turn, I'm going to be in a front stance. No, you're just going to slide your, so from here, right? Yeah, so from there, sir, right? I'm just doing this. Okay, all right, yeah. So from here, right? From here, I'm going to turn and I'm going to pull in, right? I'm going to, basically, this is a release, right? So I release and I pull to here. 1, okay? I release. That spear hand is going to come to my chest, right? Because I'm pulling away, right? And at the same time, boom, right? My left hand comes to the middle of my back, right at about belt level, okay? So I have to move my left foot. I have to move my left foot across so that I'm in a front stance to the opposite direction. Okay? And then I go right into, I step forward with the left leg into a back stance, back fist strike, a side back fist strike. Okay? All right? So you'll step forward with the left. Yeah, from there. Go here, yep. So you'll step forward toward the back. There you go. Yep. And then back fist with the left hand. Back stance. Boom. Yeah. Here. So now remember, so our hands are in this position here when you chamber, right? When you chamber, you have to make sure that you bring that hand up to the shoulder and then come across. And that happens during the spin. Okay? So when I'm here and I turn, as I'm turning, I'm bringing my left hand up, pop, and I pull across here. Okay? So it's not down here by my belt anymore. I bring it up to my shoulder, and then I come across. Okay? Right? And then from there, I go into a punch and key up. Oh, yeah. Step forward, right? Front stance. Okay. Now from here, we're not done. All right? Then I'm going to spin 270 degrees. So I'm going to spin on my right foot, turn to my left, front stance, scissor block. All right? With the left hand, or from here, hold on. No, it's the left hand. Yeah, so left hand high, right hand low on that scissor block. So pop here, right? We're only doing 1. Because then from here, we're going to do a front kick, land, front stance, double punch. All right? And then when we turn to the other side, bring it around to the front, right hand high, and then kick, double punch. Left foot returns to your Jumi position. Okay. That's the whole pumse. All right. So once again, when you make that turn, left foot comes around, so the left hand will be high. Right hand will come from the inside for that scissor block. And then right leg front kick, double punch. And then when you're bringing the right leg around, right hand low, up, kick, double punch. All right, and then left foot returns to chumbi. Remember on those scissor blocks, that inside out block should be shoulder height. Down block should be even with the right side of your body. So we don't want it this way where you're out beyond your body, right? Keep everything within the body. Okay. All right, questions? No questions? So you guys can do it?
No questions.
All right.
Looks pretty cool.
It's okay. It's not as cool as the ITF pumses.
Well, true.
All right. The third degree ITF pumses are pretty intense. The second ones are even pretty intense. So, all right. All right. Natalie, Dason, questions?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Okay, so we've taken the last like almost month, basically, going through pumses, going from Taeguk Irchung all the way up through Tae Baek right now. So the third degree pumses. All right, what questions do you guys have in regards to any of the pumses that we've talked about? We've got about 15 minutes left. All right. The less the questions, the sooner your weekend starts. No, I'm kidding. All right. What questions do you guys have in regards to some of your techniques or some of the stances, how to execute a technique? You know, is this what stance you're supposed to be in, whatever it is? Any questions in regards to any of those pumses? Beginning ones?
I mean, you know, when I do the pumses, I don't always think about the technique name. So like I'm always thinking like, oh, if my hands have to go here, there, this stance, you know, that block. I don't ever think about the actual name of the block.
Yeah, and that's hard. It's a hard process.
Me, I think, from teaching like my daughter Addie, like, oh, you have to do this. I'll show it, but I don't know I always forget the proper term for them. So
got it.
Rewatching these helps me remember what the terms are, or what the names of the movements are.
Yes, and I'll do a better job. I'm gonna start incorporating some of the Korean terms as well.
And that takes it to another level of difficulty.
Yeah, you know, because a lot of times, like when you start to watch, if you're going to use other resources and so forth, I think a lot of the best resources come from Korea. And guess what? They're going to be saying, you know, hakdari sogi, Keumgang, right? Yeah. Keumgang maki, right? Keumgang block, hakdari sogi, crane stance, right? So you have to have a general idea to kind of help with that. This also helps in the process of if you decide that you want to become like a referee in pumse or something like that, you have a desire to at least, because the one thing I notice is as being a referee, I've really had to learn to try to really work, you know, it's not just being a coach is one thing, right? Being a coach is trying to get your athletes to perform at a high level, right? And to be able to peak them at the right time so that they're going to be at their best, right? That's what the coach does. As an athlete, right, what do I need to do, right? I need to make sure that all of my techniques are really good. All my techniques are precise. All my movements are there, right? I've also realized that as an athlete, I need to know what the referees are looking for. So having that understanding of what a referee does now allows me to make sure that Natalie and Dason, okay, they're doing the technique properly. Or at least understanding, okay, right? If you can't do that technique, if you can't do this without wiggling, right, you're going to lose points, right? Every time you wiggle and have to do this, you're losing points, right? So guess what? If you can't do it, then fine. Take the deduction. Take only one small deduction instead of 5 tiny deductions, right? And save yourself the trouble, right? So helping to understand what the referees are looking for helps me to train the athlete, right? And through this whole process, now I understand as an instructor, okay, if I can set this groundwork ahead of time, then it makes it easier for anyone that wants to compete down the road, perhaps Addie. And that transition is much easier because I'll tell you, for Natalie and Dason, they had a hard learning curve when they first started competing. Because why? I didn't understand what the referees are looking for. I taught them the way I was brought up, which was very old school, right? And prior to them first starting to compete, I hadn't been to a competition in nearly 20 years. A lot changed in 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? Natalie came home going, I thought I did a good job. And, I ended up being one of the worst. And we've been surprised, even in the most recent stuff, we've been surprised. We've been caught off guard too.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've done a lot more studying. I've done a lot more watching videos, watching other people, consulting with my peers in order to try to make sure that I'm teaching properly, right?
Mhm.
And everything that I'm trying to show you and how they're doing it is based off of the Keumgang standard, which is, Keumgang is what we know as World Taekwondo, okay? Keumgang, just to give you an understanding, Keumgang is the research and development piece of World Taekwondo, okay? They're the certification piece. So they're the ones that are going through all the technical aspects, all the moves. They're creating the pumseis. They're creating the techniques, right? Okay. What WT is, or World Taekwondo Federation is the sport side of it. It's the Olympic movement of it. So it's the pumse competition. It's the Taekwondo, the kyotogi, the sparring competition. That's what WT is, right? So you guys are all certified through Keumgang, right? Which is all in itself, right? It's really what I'm trying to move toward in the way of our terminology. So I'm not saying that we're affiliated with the World Taekwondo Federation or World Taekwondo. We're actually affiliated with Keumgang. All right. So, which is the modern side of it, right? So you have the Keumgang piece, right? You have ITF, which is International Taekwondo Federation, which is where I came from. That's where you have those wide stances, Chunji Tangun Dosan, those pumseis. Then there's ATA, right? American Taekwondo Association, which has their own set of forms and curriculum that they work through. And then you've got all these lots of smaller sects that have their own things. You might have the U.S. Taekwondo Federation, USTF, U.S. Taekwondo Federation, which is a smaller group of people that are trying to be traditional, right? My instructor had his own federation called USATF, United States of America Taekwondo Federation, right? So, but if you want to understand like the historical standpoint of it, right? It was ITF first, and with the ITF there was what we call Kwans, which were philosophies of the ITF Taekwondo, right? You had the Chondo Kwan, which was a lot of sparring based, focusing on the sparring techniques, the self-defense piece, right? You had the Odo Kwan, which was what my instructor was from, the Odo Kwan, my grandmaster. And he was more pumse based, working on all the pumseis and the techniques and the technical aspect of it. There was Mudo Kwan, right, which was more based on the striking piece, right? You had, let's see, Chondo Kwan, Odo Kwan, Mudo Kwan, Chido Kwan. Chido Kwan was breaking based, right? Focusing on the breaking techniques, right? And things like that. So all of these Kwans in the old school had all of these different philosophies that they kind of focused and placed emphasis on. And, but they were all governed by ITF, right? The big parent organization, the modern Taekwondo, right? Because that's what ITF was basically modern Taekwondo. That was when Taekwondo was finally realized outside of Korea. So back in the early, probably the mid 40s into the 1950s, that's when Taekwondo started branching out outside of Korea, right? And so General Choi, Grandmaster Nam Tae-hee, which was my grandmaster, they first started that movement. And then all of these kwans were created, and they started focusing on different things. So, you know, people like Jun Ree, you guys know Jun Ree,
Best
he's
of the best.
he's famous in the East Coast. He's done movies. He's probably one of the more popular Taekwondo grandmasters, right? You know, he does 100 push-ups in a minute, right? He's trained politicians and movie stars, right? So he's you know, he's one of the Jito Kwan guys, right? From back in the day and so forth. So but yeah, all of these Kwans, they stayed true to the ITF piece, and then they branched off into their own focuses, right? So, you know, my instructor was always focusing in on, you know, the Pumse piece, or what we call the tolls, TULS, tolls. So Chunji toll, Tangun toll, right? And so if you look at some of the old ITF styles, you see a lot of what we call the sine wave technique, right? Where you come in and you come down into a movement. You come in, you come down into a movement. And you hear the breathing, the tss, 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 right? That was the old school mentality, right? This generating energy upward and then downward into the movement, right? Kind of this wave pattern to create the most amount of energy when you're on the downward motion of it, right? Using gravity to help assist, right? Well, there have been people to debunk that, right? Say, oh yeah, it's nonsense, yeah, and it looks stupid is what, you know, most people say, right? Right? You can generate the same amount of power by going more linear than circular, right? And so the technique has evolved. The way kicks are being thrown has evolved. So if you look at the purists, you know, they don't like the modern piece, right? You know, for me as an old school fighter, the trembling shock era, where it was, you needed to hit someone, you needed to stop them from moving in towards you, right, to score a point. Versus, oh, I touched you, I get a point, right? We've had to adapt, right? And so, like for me, my old school roots, yeah, I love banging and hitting hard and so forth, but the kids aren't built that way nowadays, right? The athletes aren't built that way nowadays, you know. So they're into this tap game, this fencing game, and so we've had to evolve. Same thing with the way we do pumses and the way we teach. We've had to evolve. I've had to evolve the way I train how people throw side kicks and roundhouse kicks. Why? Because there are people that still want to do this that are limited. They have bad knees, they have bad hips, right? From whatever it is. So we need to be able to adapt, right? You know, this online piece, I'm adapting to, trying to get better with this, so that because I know that this is going to be the future. This is gonna have to stay. All right. So as I start to look at the future of Apex, you know, where I need to improve, I need to keep improving this piece, you know, investing in technology to make sure that I can do that and show it properly, and then be able to market it, right? Marketing, right? How do we market? Just like you've evolved and you've utilized your drone to help with your marketing as you're showing houses and stuff like that. You know, that's what I got to start doing. Not that I'm going to have a drone flying inside the Tojang here or anything, but you know, it might be worth looking into to kind of see. But needless to say, you know, at least for you guys, you know, and alluding back to Mr. Giles's comment, as you start to teach, you start to realize, okay, you know, it's not just, oh, you need to put your foot here and you need to do this. There's more to it than that, right? But that's how it starts, right? Once again, think about the 3 phases of learning. We want them to learn the movement first, right? And be comfortable with that movement. So if they do this movement and it's supposed to be this, but they do this, if they're turning in the right direction, we're okay, right? For now, right? Get them moving in the right direction. Get them not frustrated, because everything I'm teaching you right now, that's too much. Some of you guys already even said it. It's a lot of information, right? But if we process it in the way, if I'm teaching you Tae Baek, I'm not going to teach you it in this way. all means, right? We're just going to go through it. Hey, here are the motions. Once you get comfortable with the motions, then we start working on the detail, this part, right? That's what we're working on. Going back to all of our basics, all right? How do we do that down block? Oh, yeah, because there's a down block in this Pumse too, right? And we remember those basics, and then we build on that. And then eventually, by the time you're ready to test, right, or you're ready to move on to the next level, right, we incorporate that speed and power piece. So now it's the masterpiece. Now I can do everything properly, right? If I can throw a side kick properly off my back leg, I shouldn't have a problem throwing a side kick on 3 boards or 2 boards or 4 boards, you know, when I get ready to test for my next belt and break my boards. All right. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm hoping to do, is to help you guys get more comfortable with that, understand the way I teach and my style, right? So that you can kind of mimic that when you're kind of forced into helping out and teaching. You'll have that knowledge to be able to say, oh, okay, or that confidence, right? Especially for Natalie and Dason, because why? You guys are young, all right? You guys have to work harder to get the same amount of respect that Mr. Giles and Mr. Campbell and Miss Green get automatically, and Mr. Danielle as well, right? Because they're adults. All right. And so it's more important that you make sure that your presence, everything that you do when you're inside the dojang, right, is at that highest level. Because if you're goofing off, if you're not trying hard, if you're, joking around, then guess what? When it comes time to teach someone, they're going to think that, oh, they can joke around with you. They're not going to understand. All right. And even for students, right? Mr. Campbell, right? Mr. Giles, Ms. Green, you guys at times will struggle to get some of that same respect because they see you as a student, a fellow peer, right? Versus me, where no matter what I do, they're going to shape up, and, oh, he's a master. He's because I'm not in there participating with you guys. They only see me in the teaching role. And you guys are juggling between the teaching role and the student role, the learning role. So it becomes a challenge. And so the more knowledge you have and understanding of what you're doing, right, the better you're going to be received by the students that you're helping, right? And even your kids, right, for your son and your daughter, right, Mr. Giles, right? The more you can do this, you can practice with your kids, right? Work on that patience piece, right? Because we all know our kids stress us out the most, right? And we hold our kids to a higher standard than most other people. And so it's good to work with them, because then we work through that patience piece. And then we learn to have that patience of a saint when those other kids are in class and they don't really want to do it and they're struggling or whatever, And we learn how to even work with them. Hey, are they a visual learner or are they an audio learner? Right? And then present it in a manner that they can understand. So, all right.
True.
All right. Well, next week we'll work on some of the terminology. Right. And then I will, if you guys have anything in particular that you guys want added to this, let me know. Is weekly still okay? Do we want to spread it out a little bit? And because it's only 1 hour a week that I'm really getting a chance to work with you guys. So do you guys want to maintain it weekly? Do you want to do it less frequently? No, weekly is good. Weekly is good for you guys? Yes?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If we need to change the time, right, we can certainly look into that as well. Right. I'm not sure. Right now, I've been furloughed by Lifetime. So when Lifetime opens back up, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Not sure if they're going to bring me back. The initial talk 3.5, 4 weeks ago when they furloughed me was, oh yeah, we'll bring you back, right? But the more I see it, I don't know if they will, right? Because it's all about the revenue issue, right? If they feel like they can generate the revenue, because I think the biggest problem that the gyms are going to be experiencing is the paranoia that people have, right? I've been open for 3 weeks now, and I've only seen the same 10 students in every class, right? So at this point right now, I'm not getting new students, right? Mr. Campbell, you, Dason, and Sabina are the newest people to actually step foot into Apex, right? Since I reopened, right? Last week it was Brandon and Lizette, right? So I'm getting more and more people coming in, but the reality of it is that there is a paranoia still, right? And of course, I'm doing my part. I've got people socially distant. I'm wiping things down. I'm cleaning extra. I've got cleaners. The person that came in and disinfected for me right before I opened 3 weeks ago, he gave me a whole bunch of professional product that I use, right, to kind of help. It's not the over-the-counter stuff. So it's the stuff that he uses when he does his mitigation. No one has been sick, thank goodness, knock on wood. No one's been sick or anything. I've made sure my kids are staying far away. Even when we're teaching, we're maintaining those 2 squares and so forth. So when we're able to gather larger than 10, I've got to start looking at how I'm going to utilize my technology so I can maximize the space and get more people into class. So I would say that as people start to get more comfortable, yes, more people will start showing up. But it's going to be a slow process. So I need to keep the online presence going, keep you guys engaged. Obviously for you guys are more than welcome to come in and join class. Just let me know ahead of time. Just sign up. Because right now I've only got it, we're limited to the 8. So I know that some of you guys have taken that stance like, oh, you know what? I'm an instructor. I don't want to take away from a student wanting to come in, right? In the 3 weeks that I've been open and the 60 plus classes that I've offered, okay, here. 4 times have we met the maximum 10 people. 4 classes, that's it. Okay? So for you guys, if you guys want training and, because I know sometimes it's hard. I know Mr. Campbell tried to train at home. He ran out of some space. It was a little tight. So, right, if you guys want to train, there is room here. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock classes, there is literally only 3 people in here in class. If you guys want to train in person, there's plenty of space around, and so forth. Basically the 4 o'clock classes are usually the business class. All right. 5 o'clock class, the most I've had at the 5 o'clock class is 5. So there's no reason for people not to come in, and we can fill that up as well. 6 o'clock class, the most I've had is 3 or 4. So, and the 7 o'clock class, there's only been like 1 or 2. So there's plenty of room. For you guys want to train with us at 7 o'clock for those competition team classes, you guys are more than welcome to. All right, because that's just more detail stuff. So it's good to help with the instruction piece. All right, so, and at this point right now, we're not doing any competitions anytime soon. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, is learning how to build strength in throwing certain techniques, exercises that way, and then working on, the traditional basics. What judges are looking for, once again, to add to your knowledge. All right. So, all right. Any other questions or anything, comments? No? All right. Well, thanks for your time, you guys. God bless you guys and have a great weekend. And we will see you sometime next week. Sign up's already up for next week for people who want to sign up for classes. And then if you guys have anything to add to the agenda, let me know. Well, like I said, at this point right now, I'll just kind of work on some of the terminology stuff. And we'll go from there. Let me see. The only other thing that I have for you guys is, if you guys are interested, I speak at my church, and we have an online service at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. If you guys want to pop in and listen to that, that's kaumc.org. And then there's we do our services via YouTube Live. I'm going to post as well. I thought that it was today that the Keumgang demonstration was happening, but it happened last night at 9 o'clock. So I will send you guys the link to that. Pretty amazing stuff. It was kind of neat to kind of see their theatrics and so forth. And then those I ran across a link. Some guys from Great Britain, they call the slow-mo guys, decided to get the Keumgang demonstration team and slow-mo their braking techniques.
Ooh.
In slow-mo, their 360 brakes and stuff like that. And it was totally awesome. So I'm going to send you guys that link, because if you watch them do some of their tricks, there's one trick where the guy gets launched and he brakes boards all the way around in a circle, right? And so they videotaped him with all of these in slow motion, and you saw every break, everything that they did. And it was pretty amazing. So kind of a neat thing for you guys. I know you guys, right, like to kind of see some of that stuff. I do, certainly. So I want to share that with you guys. So I'll send that link to you guys later on this afternoon with that information. It's pretty cool stuff. So, all right. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys hopefully soon. All right.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Yep,
Thank
you're
you very much.
welcome.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.